say a few things. Last Thursday started exams, so our guys are in the middle of exams, which is always a little bit of a tricky situation. More so this year, actually. You'd think it'd be less tricky being online, but some of our guys had to turn in stuff on Saturday and Sunday since classes were online this year instead of in-person exams. You don't have anything to do on Saturday or Sunday. We played really well the first game. Gavin pitched great. We played really good baseball. We had a longer break in between the game two, which actually I thought would help us, and it didn't. We went back to the hotel, which was 3 minutes away, and I showered. I think a couple of players showered. They got food, of course, and hydrated. And Cooch pitched really good. Position player wise, we weren't ready to play, which is my fault. Even though I told him that we haven't played great in game twos, even though we've won some, it fell on deaf ears, which is my fault because I'm the leader, and we obviously got beat. And the one thing walking away from Wichita State that you could see, even if you weren't there and you couldn't watch it, not real sure why the games weren't streamed, but they weren't, is once their offensive guys started going like they did in game two, you just couldn't stop them. And game three, Smitty pitched great. We played great. Game four, we just dug ourselves too big of a hole. And like I said, the offense got rolling, and the only guy that could squelch it was Cam Colmore, and what he did on Sunday was unbelievable. 4 innings, scoreless, just grinding. And when I think it went 6-1-2-2, and then Cam went 0-0-0-0. And we knew they had their best arms in the bullpen, which we did. We just had to go to our bullpen too early when you have to go at 2 in the first inning. And we just fell a little bit short. We had the tying run to the plate in the 8th and the 9th, and we weren't able to, catch them. So, but I thought our guys played hard on Sunday. And yesterday was an off day with optional weights. They'll lift weights today, no practice. And most of our guys are finishing up with exams today or tomorrow. So we'll practice tomorrow. We'll practice Thursday to get ready for Tulane.
Okay, we'll go to any questions for Coach Godwin.
Coach, can you update us on Wisn Hunt status at this point?
I can't believe that's the first question. Everybody thinks we're terrible without him. So he will throw a bullpen today. If he feels good today, then he'll be available on Sunday.
Coach, when you look at – go ahead.
I can actually talk to this one, so this is good.
No.
I got to take advantage. We look at potentially the game one of this one, obviously the 2 aces, assuming they would throw. I know every game one of a series like this is important, but that seems like it could be a pretty special matchup with Gavin against their guys. What are your thoughts on that potentially Friday afternoon?
Well, I told our guys last weekend that, it's playoff baseball. We weren't quite into May when, we got at Wichita State, but in May is playoff baseball. Every game matters, and it's going to be intense, and it's going to be competitive no matter who you play. But you got the first place team in the conference coming in and the second place team in the conference, and you got 2 Friday night aces. That's a regional atmosphere, and I know that we probably can't have the place packed, but hopefully it'll be as many people as they'll let through those gates, because I'm expecting a really good game, each game, but especially game one.
When you take a look at Tulane, what are some of the things that are areas of concern when you look at that team this year?
Mark, I haven't looked at them at all. I worry about our team. I'll look at some of their pitching as we get closer. They've played well. They're hot. They're won 12 out of the last 13. I knew they were going to be good. I was a little bit perplexed about why they hadn't won as many games early in the season. So this doesn't surprise me, and for all the people that are out there with the naysaying stuff is, hey, we're in second place. We're 30-9 with the number 1 team in the conference coming to Greenville. We have everything in front of us that we have wanted to do, and it is the ball's in our court. And if we play well, good things will happen. If we don't, we'll lose, and we'll have to figure out how to get better.
Coach, all season, Zach Agnost, whether he's been getting on via the walk or lately via hits, he's really been swinging the bat well lately. Just what does he mean to you guys right now?
Well, you look back and, Agnost obviously got off to a slow start, and we've said this with a lot of our guys. It feels like this has happened more so this year, and I blame it on COVID, just having a year off. But anytime there's a little bit of a slump in the pitching or the hitting, it seems like it's been amplified this year because they didn't play last year. And Zach and I had a lot of talks. We hit some, but really he is the player that you're seeing now, like he was in the fall. I mean, arguably coming out of the fall, he's one of our best hitters, and he just started off slow, and now he's swinging it like he's capable of.
Cliff, the immediate eligibility of transfers that football and basketball are dealing with now, that's more or less been the situation in baseball for a number of years, I think, hasn't it? And
no.
How will that affect baseball, do you think?
It's not been, baseball has had to sit out a year too. So we're in the same rules that football and basketball were previously in. Now you get the one-time transfer. I think it's bad for athletics. I think it's bad for society because anytime somebody is not necessarily happy with their playing time, their coaching, coach yelled at me at practice, gives them a free opportunity to jump ship. And, I don't worry about it with our guys. I'm not saying that somebody won't transfer out of our program, but you just want to have close enough relationships where, when they have a bad day, it's not the end of the world. They're not transferring. I think we're just giving them an easy way out, and that's not really developing them for life, in my opinion. That's not the way I was raised. It's not the way my coaches raised me. Yeah, is there a specific situation that a kid really needs to transfer because there's a family? Yeah, there is, and that's why they have waivers. But to make it blanket, I just don't agree with it.
And I saw where you had retweeted kind of an opinion about additional financial aid for baseball. You want to share some thoughts on that?
I think our sport's under supported. I mean, we have 35 players on any given year. This year, 40 because of COVID, and you get 11.7 scholarships. I mean, the kids that are on our team, 95% of them are paying more than what East Carolina's paying to go to East Carolina. What I mean by that is most of our guys are on less than 50%. So their families are paying more financially than what East Carolina is supporting them. And I don't think that's fair. And every other sport is supported better than us, in my opinion. Now, I don't have all the facts in front of me, so make sure you guys can look into that a little bit. But we are very underfunded, and it's because we're a male sport, and there's always the Title IX issues, and that's the way it's always been. I mean, the third assistant not being paid when you have 35 players, like what are we talking about? We talk about student athlete welfare all the time, but then when it comes to financially, it doesn't seem that we want to really do it.
Coach Riley Johnson, and basically every opportunity he's gotten lately has hit the ball well, put up good at bats. Do you look to get him more playing time? I know it's kind of a numbers crunch. Obviously, only 9 can play it, but just your thoughts on him and maybe find a way, if possible, to get him more at bats.
Riley's done a tremendous job. He started out slow like Agnost did, but he was one of our best hitters in the fall and in the preseason. And, sometimes young guys press. I think he pressed early, but he has played great. Of course, he gets in about every game, even when he doesn't start, but he'll continue to get opportunities. And like you guys know, anything can happen. So somebody could go down with a hamstring or a quad or something, and then all of a sudden he's playing every day.
Coach Maynard had a good outing last weekend. Talk about his improvement as he begins to kind of round back into shape and starting to look like he did last year a little bit.
Well, it's crazy. We've had a lot of conversations. It's not really crazy, but crazy for some people probably. But, it's not like Cooch just all of a sudden started pitching bad. He started having some different thoughts in his head where maybe it was velo, maybe it was, is my changeup good? And it's a slippery slope. And then all of a sudden your thoughts go down the wrong path. And then you're giving up a couple blue pits. And that's why the game of baseball is so hard, is it's a game of inches. Cooch Maynard focus last week was focused on helping others. I said, hey, you can do your weekly routine in your sleep. You don't need to worry about that. You don't need to refine it. Your weekly routine, he works as hard as any player that's ever been in our program. He's very consistent and diligent. He is a super smart young man. And I said, just worry about helping the young guys. Help out Bill, help out Groves, help out Ginn. And if you do that, it'll take your mind off all the other stuff that maybe you were thinking about previously that doesn't matter. And Evan Krasinski actually talked to him last week as well, just with the way Cruz has been able to maneuver through professional baseball. And he started out good, Cruz did, when he first in the short season, and then he had a couple bad years because he was worried about the wrong things. And then COVID helped him get back on the right track, and he was at big league spring training, pitched great, and he's at the alternate site now. So it's really impressive to me, and to have those older guys, they're so invested in what's going on here. Some of our guys that were in the first couple years of the program, and now they're giving back to guys on the team. It's pretty special.
When you look at recent starts by Saylor and then Spivey, as you mentioned, obviously wasn't, the way you wanted, but how do you keep those guys kind of confident? There's guys you'll probably get a need and turn to at some point. How do you feel about them being able to bounce back and kind of stay in it, despite having some struggles recently starting?
Well, for whatever reason, they just haven't pitched as well as they do out of the bullpen. And so, you give opportunities to guys that have worked hard, and both those players work hard. It didn't work out the past 2 weekends when we started those guys, but that's fine. And if Carson continues to feel good, then obviously Carson will go back into a starting role at some point in time. I don't know if it'll be this weekend. So, but you continue to give guys opportunities. Another positive from this weekend, all 3 freshmen were out there again. Danny Bill was out there twice, Landon again once. Groves went multiple innings. I think the more we can continue to develop those guys are going to help us down the stretch run as well.
Coach, going off that, it's obvious Spivey and Saylor have good stuff. Do you think it is kind of a mental thing, like we're talking about maybe with Cooch at times, where they overthink it a little bit?
Definitely. That's the thing. And the thing I've harped on with our guys is, if you have the wrong thoughts going in there, but you tell everybody that you're okay, well, that's like an alcoholic saying, hey, I'm not an alcoholic. Well, you got to admit that there's something going on in your head when you're out there, so we can help you, whether it be a teammate, whether it be a coach. But both those guys are critical for us down the stretch, and they'll both get the ball at different times. I don't know if it'll be in a starting role or not, but they're critical for our bullpen for sure down the stretch run.